Welcome to the newest episode of Beatin' and Bangin'. I'm your host, Kyle Dalton. We've got a variety of different things to discuss in today's video, including Carson Hocevar addressing the situation with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and what he said to the 2023 Daytona 500 winner about what happened last Sunday in Nashville. Plus, we'll talk about two very different Kyle Busch stories, including one that is really painful for fans of the two-time Cup Series champion, because it's an ugly milestone moment that most fans couldn't ever imagine it would happen. At least not this soon. Plus another really interesting story on Busch selling one of his massive houses. If that story sounds familiar, it's because it is. We'll also discuss the upcoming race in Mexico City and how the winner, as well as the second and third place finishers, will be honored for their performances. And we'll talk about a video shared yesterday on X by Trackhouse Racing that included an interesting comment by Max Verstappen and his interest in driving a NASCAR ride. And finally, we'll wrap up with a couple things for this weekend's races at Michigan, including our fun facts and figures and the average starting and finishing position of all 36 Cup Series drivers. However, before we get to those numbers, let's go back to Wednesday. I'd planned on doing a video on Wednesday afternoon for you guys, but as they say, life happens. So instead of doing a video, I did other things around the house and ran some errands with my wife. Turns out Wednesday was a busy news day. One of the things was an appearance by Carson Hocevar on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio with Danielle Trotta and Larry McReynolds. Naturally, they talked about his solid runner-up finish in Tennessee and how, as a result of that and his strong performance this year, America's crew chief has the Spire Motorsports driver as his favorite to become the first career first-time winner this year ahead of Ty Gibbs and Ryan Preece. And of course, they talked about what happened earlier in the race on Sunday when he got into the rear of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Take a listen to what Hocevar had to say.
Ricky Stenhouse gave last night. He said he has not heard from you, and if he doesn't hear from you, then he wants to have a conversation with you in Michigan. Is that something that you're open to, or maybe since last night, have you talked to him? Are you wanting to have a conversation just to kind of put all this to bed?
Yeah, we texted a little bit back and forth, and I think we'll still talk and everything, right? You see each other 38 weekends a year. Eventually you're going to run into each other, not literally, hopefully, but run into each other in person. But I think it's better, if you're going to have that talk or conversation or whatever it is, right, to do it before you get to the track and everybody gets in race mode and everything. So, he had obviously wanted to have that conversation, so I just texted him to reach out or whatever, but we'll probably have that talk or whatever and see where it goes.
So they haven't talked just yet, but he expects that to happen this weekend. I also thought it was worth noting that Hosvar said that he understands he's got to continue to improve and he knows he's going to continue making mistakes, and that's just all part of the learning process. But he made it really clear and committed to not losing his edge, which I think is definitely something that his fans will want to hear. Speaking of drivers who've been known to ruffle a few feathers, let's talk about Kyle Busch. On Wednesday, I really wanted to put out a video, and this was going to be my main story, just because of how big of a milestone moment Wednesday was for the two-time Cup Series champion. What do I mean? Fans of Rowdy recognize that he has not won a race in 70 races. So how long is 70 races? On Wednesday, it was 2 years to the day that the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet made its last trip to Victory Lane. Just saying those words sounds so weird that it's been 2 years since Kyle Busch won a race. I decided to go back and look at the numbers, and no one would have envisioned Busch being in this position 6 years ago. In 2019, he won 5 times and won the championship. But since that time, it's been a dramatic drop-off in performance. In 2020, he won just once. Not totally an anomaly because he won a single time in both 2012 and 2014, respectively. In 2021, he won twice. In 2022, he won a single time once again, or continued that pattern similar to what he had done 10 years earlier. Then he switched over to Richard Childress Racing in 2023 and won 3 times. I know personally I thought, okay, he's back to his winning ways. As we know now, he was not. Since that win in June of 2023, not only has he not won, but he's only had a few chances where he was considered a true race-winning car. There's no better indicator of this than laps led in a race. In 2023, he only led 241 laps. Last year, it was down to 230. Through 14 races, or more than a third of the way in 2025, he's only led 62 laps. By comparison, His lowest laps led total before that was in 2021 when he led 334 laps. There's only been 2 seasons dating back to the beginning of his career where he's led fewer than 500 laps. In 2014, as I mentioned a minute ago, when he won a single time, and in 2005, his first full-time season. Unfortunately for you Rowdy fans, it doesn't appear he's trending in the right direction. Moving on to our next story, but sticking with Kyle Busch. And it was another news item on Wednesday, which I found really interesting, and it was Busch has put up one of his homes for sale. The driver listed it on his Instagram page and said, "We love this piece of land and the amazing barn dominium, but right now, we just don't have enough time to spend there. We can't wait for someone to love it as much as we have." And then Busch said it's a 14,983 square foot barn dominium on 35 acres and go find out more on Zillow, which I did. The first thing of note is it's priced at $4.5 million, and the online listing says it's thoughtfully designed for automotive collectors, off-roading enthusiasts, and those seeking space to live boldly, and features 2 fully independent living quarters, each with its own kitchen and living area, and 4 generous bedrooms, perfect for guest or multi-generational living. And then as you can see, it has a saltwater pool, a private bar and club with a pool table, and then I think the biggest selling point for me, a massive garage that also serves as a gymnasium with a basketball court, a really cool rock climbing wall, and as you can see, it includes all of this off-road terrain vehicles, which apparently comes with the property. So this is an interesting news item just by itself, Busch selling this house. What I think makes it even more interesting is it was 2 years ago to the day on my other channel, After the Checkered Flag, that I did a video on him selling his other house with Heather Gibbs, yes, Ty Gibbs' mom, as the agent of record. And what was that house? Another 15,000 square foot property that was on Lake Norman. But this one was a little more pricey, as in almost triple the price at $12.9 million. Now, I couldn't seem to find it anywhere on whether he ever officially sold that house and purchased another one. So maybe someone who is familiar with Busch's house that he was trying to sell 2 years ago can comment on this video and let us know on whether he actually sold that house or not. It's just interesting to think that he's put 2 houses on the market in the last 2 years. Moving on to our next story, and it was something that also came out on Wednesday regarding the upcoming race in Mexico City that I thought was worth talking about. Dustin Long of NBC Sports reported that the Cup and Xfinity Series races south of the border will give a nod to the traditional international motorsport celebrations, and there will be a podium-style celebration similar to what happens in IMSA, IndyCar, and F1, and the top 3 drivers will be recognized at the end. I know some of you won't like NASCAR going away from its tradition of just recognizing the first place winner, but for me personally, I think it's kind of cool, especially because it's an international race, and they're adopting what is the norm on an international level. NASCAR did tell NBC that there are currently no plans for podium-style celebrations following the Mexico City event. Speaking of F1, it takes us to a story that I saw yesterday come out on X in a video posted on the Trackhouse Racing account. Take a look at this.
What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you.
You ready?
I think so. You want to get in? Good to see you, man.
Yes, you heard that right. That's Max Verstappen talking to Connor Zilisch at a Red Bull racing event in Austria, where the 2 drivers were together and Zilisch asked Verstappen if he wanted to get in his car. And then he unexpectedly said yes, which naturally got fans talking about the 4-time Formula One champion might be interested in getting inside a NASCAR ride, which I think would be really cool, so we could maybe put an end to the debate on who is the best driver in the world between Kyle Larson and Verstappen. Just for fun, I went and did a little research to compare their numbers since 2021, when Larson won his lone Cup Series championship, and the numbers were pretty startling if I'm being honest. In that time, Larson won the 2021 championship and he's won 26 races. During that same time frame, Verstappen has won 55 races. Yeah, you heard that right. 55 or more than double what Larson has won. Plus, he's won the last 4 drivers' championships. Could it happen? Could Verstappen race in NASCAR? Some might discount it altogether. I'm not one of those people. I'm thinking Project 91. You know, Trackhouse Racing owner Justin Marks' own inspired project that they've run over the last several years, bringing in drivers from around the world to race in select Cup races. Yeah, the way many of us learned who Shane Van Gisbergen was several years ago when he won in the streets of Chicago. Well, SVG hasn't left and is now a full-time Cup Series driver. There's the perfect opportunity right there. And it was the Trackhouse Racing account that posted the video for a Red Bull event. SVG is also a Red Bull sponsored driver. Is it just me or does this make too much sense? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And finally, it's time for our fun facts and figures from Michigan. This weekend marks the 108th running of a NASCAR Cup Series race at Michigan International Speedway from 1969 to 2025. The last 4 Cup races at Michigan have been won by 4 different drivers. Tyler Reddick in 2024, Chris Buescher in 23, Kevin Harvick in 22, and Ryan Blaney in 2021. Only one of the last 12 Michigan Cup races was won by a driver getting his first win of the season. 8 drivers snapped a winless streak of at least 41 races at Michigan. Maybe this is Kyle Busch's time. Ford has won 9 of the last 10 races at Michigan. Maybe it's not Kyle Busch's time. Kyle Larson won the last 3 races at Michigan won by Chevrolet drivers, but it was with Chip Ganassi in the number 42 car. Michigan has produced only 2 first-time Cup winners in 107 races. Dale Jarrett did it in August 1991 and Kyle Larson in August 2016. Maybe Carson Hocevar in 2025? And finally, the last 2 Michigan races each had a track record of 16 different leaders. In other words, it should be entertaining to watch up near the front. Speaking of running up near the front, let's take a look at the drivers to watch this weekend on the 2-mile track based on their average starting and finishing positions in the last 3 races in the Gen 7 car. Denny Hamlin is clearly the top driver with an average starting position of 7.7 and an impressive average finishing position of 5.0, which includes a pair of third-place results in 2022 and 2023 and a 9th place in last year's race where he also sat on the pole. Following Hamlin is Zane Smith with his single race there last year, and he's followed by Chris Buescher. Ty Gibbs and Brad Keselowski round out the top 5 and are tied with an average finishing position of 8 even. Take a look at who is 6th and 8th, respectively, Carson Hocevar and Eric Jones. So the 3 Michigan boys are all inside the top 10. Rounding out the top 10 are Ryan Blaney and Daniel Suarez. Will one of these drivers make a trip to victory lane this weekend? We'll have to wait to find out. All right, guys, that's a wrap on today's episode. We talked about multiple topics, and I want to hear what you thought about them. First, I want to hear from you Busch fans on your driver hitting the 2-year mark since his last win. Do you think he wins again this year? Are you concerned that he might not ever win again? We know he'll be at RCR through 2026, so that's what he has to work with. Next up, what do you guys think of the announcement of the podium celebration in Mexico City? Like it or not? And lastly, what are your thoughts on Max Verstappen's comments in the post on X by Trackhouse? Do you see Verstappen racing under the Project 91 umbrella in the future? Thanks again for checking out the latest video and supporting the channel. I really appreciate it and hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the race weekend in Michigan. We'll see you on Monday.